Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey, what's up, podcast family? Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 303. I'm Phil Graham. Let's stick with the number 3 because I'm going to give you 3 Facebook and Instagram ad mistakes that so many people make that can cost you a fortune. It can cost you a lot of time and a lot of money. And I don't want to see you guys get hurt by these mistakes. So today I'm going to share what those are and how to avoid them. So welcome to the episode today, my friends. I'm excited you're here. Happy Tuesday or whatever day it is that you're listening to this. I am excited to be here and be your voice of reason to help you navigate this crazy world of marketing and learning how to run successful ads without getting screwed by the scammers and all the get-rich-quick idiots that are out there. So I'm super glad you're here. And I'll tell you what, these mistakes I'm going to be sharing with you today can really do a lot of damage to any advertiser. Whether you're a large business or a one-person entrepreneur or anything in between, these can really hurt you. They can cost you time, they can cost you a lot of money, and they can even cost you what could even be worse, which is hope and a chance for success. And I don't want that to happen to you. So make sure you really listen to these carefully because these are so important. And before we jump in, I just have a couple quick announcements. I am super excited about some things that are coming up that I'm going to be sharing with you that are going to be incredibly valuable. I cannot wait. So I've got some templates I'm working on for you in regards to ads, in regards to how I test, and even some things on managing my business. I cannot wait to share these with you guys. It's going to be so cool. I've also got a couple checklists and our dashboard. If you've been listening to this podcast for very long, you probably know that I use a custom created dashboard to track everything. It's one of our secret sauces, and I'm very close to being able to share that with you. I've been working on it for a long time, and that's going to be coming soon. And also, I'm going to be sharing some little case studies and winning ads that we've had with you, and not only share the ads with you, but why they did so well. So I just wanted to kind of touch upon that. Those things are going to be coming up very, very soon. I cannot wait. You guys are going to love that. So I'm very excited for that. And also, if you guys want to get in touch with me, if you're looking for some one-on-one coaching, so you can finally learn ads the right way and avoid all the crap and all the bad info that's out there, or if you actually want somebody to run your ads for you, a pro, somebody you can trust, for either one of those things, you can just go to my website, philgrahamdigital.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and I would love to connect with you. So again, thank you guys so much for being here. Let's jump right into the content and talk about these 3 huge mistakes that can cost you a fortune so that it does not happen to you. Mistake number 1 is ignoring ad frequency, the frequency of your ads. This is a big one. So what does that mean? Well, frequency tells you essentially on average how many times your ad has been seen by somebody in your audience. So for example, I'm sure you've had this experience where you've seen the exact same ad like 10 or 15 times. And you're like, why do you keep showing this to me? Like, stop, I'm tired of seeing this. I've seen it over and over. It's annoying and it does not work very well, does it? It actually kind of makes you mad. You don't want to do that to your audience. And that's where ad frequency comes in, because you can literally know at least a good approximation on average how often somebody has seen your exact ad. And this is at the literal ad set and ad level. So a huge mistake people make is either not even knowing this is a thing, or even worse, knowing about it, but just ignoring it and not looking at it. So what you want to do is you want to see what your frequency is for the ads that you have running. And what you don't want to see is a frequency that's really high to where it's like, I would say like 5 or above. Because if somebody has seen your exact same ad 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, you're going to really be annoying them. And you're also kind of wasting money at that point, aren't you? Like, that's not good. Now, there is kind of an exception. You could be running a dynamic product type of ad or something like that, to where they may have viewed things that were in your cart. And so there are some exceptions, but for most of you, you're not going to have those exceptions too often. And so really paying attention to that frequency can help you tremendously. So if you don't know how to find it, it's in the ad set tab under the ad set. And I go to the performance and the clicks view, performance and clicks, because when you default to just performance, it doesn't show up. You got to click on performance and clicks, or you could customize it and manually add it into any view you want, but that's where you find it. And again, when people see the same ad over and over, that is called ad fatigue. At that point, you're wasting your money and you're actually creating a bad experience for those people that are viewing your ads. And you don't want to do that. So, number one, don't do that. Make sure you're managing that. Number two, when you are running ads and you see the frequency start getting up there, let's say 5 or above, fix it. How do you fix it? You could do a couple different things. Well, obviously you could turn it off, but the main things that I would do, instead of just randomly turning it off, I would either change the ad creative so that the same audience, we're still advertising to them, but now we're showing them a different ad. And I would turn off the creative that has a high frequency. So you can change the creative, or you could take that same ad, maybe it's worked well, and you can send it to a different audience. Either way, you're going to help in that scenario. And so make sure that you guys are paying attention to frequency, because so many advertisers either ignore it or they don't understand the importance of it and how much it can cost you in time and money. And you don't want to make that mistake. And don't forget, like I said earlier, there are exceptions from time to time, whether it's a DPA ad or an ad that's running well, or there may be a reason to keep something going with a high frequency. So there are exceptions, but most of the time, when you have a really high frequency, it's going to be hurting you. And so you don't want that to be a mistake that you make. Mistake number 2 that we're talking about today is not testing enough ad variations when it comes to your creatives. I'll tell you what, if I had to put a number on it, I would guess a very high percentage of advertisers, probably in the high 90s, 95% or more, are not testing enough ad variations, maybe even upwards of 99%. Very few people do that. Let me ask you a question. Do you strategically run ads, or do you just run them randomly? It's very important to really know the difference between the two, because strategically running ads doesn't just mean you think about some good copy and you run an ad to an audience and you see what happens. By itself, that's not strategic enough. That's just a start. It's like stepping on a basketball court. Doesn't mean you like won the game or you're good at it. Strategically running ads means you always need to be testing things and doing it in a strategic way and evaluating what's going on with those tests. So one of my philosophies is every ad we run should be run for a specific reason, and we should always be testing something with that specific ad so that we learn more from it. If you ever run an ad and you can't say why it didn't do good or why it did do good, if you can't identify that, you've got a problem. And you probably need somebody like me to help you, and or you need to increase your skills so that you don't have that problem in the future, because it can be very costly. So one of the best ways to strategically run ads, like I said, is to test ads properly. Now, there's so many different ways that you can test. I mean, you can test ads, creatives, audiences, ad angles, landing pages, and placements, objectives, and many other things. And you can go into depth on every single one of those things. But I want to give you 3 simple things you can start with that you could actually literally do today or in the next week or so that can be really effective. So for each ad that you're either running or planning to run, I would aim to test at least 3 things. Number 1, start with the headline. So if you're running an ad right now, what you want to do is duplicate it and split test it. Keep the same audience, keep the same creative, same ad copy, but just change the headline. So the only difference between those 2 ads is the headline. And then you can identify if one headline is working better or worse than the other one. And you can always try and improve that. And you might think it's not a big deal. Oh, it's just a headline. It's just a couple words. I've had some situations where one headline made like a difference, 20 times better difference. Other times it might be 5 or 6 times better. Sometimes you'll do a headline and it sucks. And then you know the one you have is better. But if you're continually testing, you'll know. To do this right, though, you've got to have 2 ads that are identical except for the headline. If you have more than one difference in those 2 ads, then you won't know if it was the headline that made the difference. So you got to do it right. So start with the headline. That's one thing to test. One last thing on testing in general, like with headlines, there are ways to test 2 headlines in one ad or to do A/B split test. So there's different ways to actually do the testing. But when you create 2 different ad sets equally and give them the same budget, it's a really simple, effective way. And that's something that most people can implement right away, and it's highly effective. A different test, which would be in a different ad, because you don't want to have 2 different things at once. A different test would be testing the creative, meaning the actual video or the image of the ad. So you could test one video, have the same ad copy, same headline, same audience, and then test that against an ad that has all the same, except instead of a video, it's got an image. Or you could test one video against a different video. Or you could test one image against a different image. But as you do this, you'll notice that some things make a huge difference. And it's never just one thing. It could be the headline for you. It could be an image. It could be something else. That's why you always need to test this stuff. If you're not testing this stuff, holy crap, that's scary. Because you're spending money on ads and you're probably leaving a lot of money on the table. And worst of all, you're probably wasting a lot of money and losing money because of it. Make sure you're testing this stuff. So you would test headlines, you would test the creative, meaning the video or the image. And then the last, third easy thing to test would be the hook. The hook at the beginning of the ad copy. So above your image or video in the Facebook or Instagram ad, you start off by saying something in the ad copy. And you should be starting off with a hook that gets their attention. You want to test that because you want to have different hooks to see what does a better job of getting somebody's attention, hooking them in so they want to engage with the rest of the ad. Those are 3 simple things that you could test right now: headline, creative, and hook. And when you do that, you can start opening the door to making smart decisions based off of data and doing it strategically. If you're not already doing this, that's scary. Make sure you start doing this. And when you do it right, it's not just enough to do it. You got to do it right. Amazing things can happen, my friends. It's very, very powerful. So make sure you guys are testing ad variations and doing it on a constant basis strategically. It makes a huge difference for us. You will be shocked what it could do for you. And mistake number 3 that we're going to talk about today, this is also a big one, and that is not 100% optimizing for mobile first. Both the ad, the creative, and wherever you're sending people, the landing page or sales page or shopping cart, wherever you're sending them. It kind of shocks me and blows my mind sometimes how many people focus on desktop, because like a lot of people run ads I do this myself on desktop a lot. It's easier to run an ad on a big computer with a big screen and great resources on there. So you run ads on the desktop in terms of like you're creating them and working in Ads Manager on your laptop or your desktop. What a lot of people sometimes forget is that most people are going to be viewing your ads on their phones. And if you're not 100% optimized first for those people who are viewing it on their phones, because it's probably going to be a very high percentage for most of you, maybe 80%, 90% or more in many cases. If your ad is optimized for the desktop and it doesn't look as good on the phone, you're going to have problems. And again, I want to be clear, this isn't just for the ad. It's for your website. It's for your landing pages, your shopping cart pages, anywhere that you send people from your ad. You need to make sure it is perfect on the phone. And always look at that first. So you can create it on your laptop, your regular computer, but you got to make sure it's formatted perfectly and properly for mobile. That's very important. Sometimes that means doing more than one creative. Like if you do a horizontal video, you should also do a vertical video that you can put for mobile placements and stories and reels and stuff like that. Also, obviously testing your landing page and seeing how it looks on mobile, making sure it loads fast as well. And just make sure that everything's formatted perfectly and nothing looks weird. You might think it's okay, and hopefully it is for you, but a lot of people don't realize that it's not because they're not always looking at it on their phones. Make sure you look at everything you do on your phone right away and fix anything that needs to be fixed. Also, another couple tips on this, whenever you do video ads on Facebook, definitely, and Instagram, definitely caption all those videos because a lot of people watch with the sound off, at least at the very beginning. And sometimes they watch the whole thing with no sound. You've got to have captions on there. You can do that yourself through a video editor program, or you can do that right from within Facebook. It's super quick and easy to do. You've got to have that on there, though. It's very important. And you also should be looking at breaking up walls of text. Like a lot of people will put some text, and let's say you're creating your ad on your laptop or on your desktop, and you put some paragraphs in your ad copy. Let's say it's like some longer ad copy. And on your computer, it doesn't look like a whole lot. But when you actually look at it on your phone, it could be multiple screens that you have to scroll to go through that. So it's not a problem having long ad copy. Sometimes that works really well, but what you want to do is make sure you break that up with some white space in between. And sometimes you might break it up with some emojis or some kind of graphics as well. And then you want to do the same thing on the landing page. You don't want to have too much text all together to where it's mini screens on a phone of just walls of text. You don't want that. You want to make sure you break it up so it's formatted. There's nice white space in between. There's images. There's things that break it up. And if you're only looking at this on desktop or your laptop, you're not going to realize how bad it might look on the phone. You don't want that to happen. So if you guys focus on optimizing your ads, your landing pages, and anywhere you send people from your ads for mobile first, 100%, that can help you tremendously. I'm telling you, the people that don't do this are, in a lot of cases, losing a lot of money because of it. So to recap, make sure you're optimizing for mobile first. Make sure you're testing plenty of ad variations, even if you can't do it all at once. If you don't have the budget to test it all at once, just make sure that you're testing this as time goes on. You're always testing something. What is that? ATS. Always test something. No matter what you do, make sure you're always testing. And then also don't forget about ad frequency. Don't bombard people with the same ad 5,000 times because you're going to be wasting a lot of money. And that's like flushing it down the toilet. You don't want to do that. So I would avoid all these mistakes. And if you do, I think you'll be in a much better place. They help us so much. And we have much better success by not making these mistakes. So my friends, episode 303 is in the books. Don't forget, lots of cool stuff coming up for you guys soon. Templates, checklists, dashboards, winning ads, all kinds of good stuff. I can't wait to share it with you. Thank you so much for being here. Again, if you want to get in touch, philgrahamdigital.com is the website, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and I will talk to you on next week's episode. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.